We have had our fair share of cancer survivors on this program. And folks, it's because they are some of the most inspiring people anywhere. We've also had heart transplant survivors, and in many cases, their experience is similar. Given a second chance, they come back stronger than ever. But we have only had one person who is both a cancer survivor and a heart transplant recipient.
Yeah, sounds like he's had a lot of fun in life, huh?
Oh,
But
my
wait
God.
till you hear this. By the time he was 35, he survived cancer 4 different times, 54 months of chemo and radiation therapy. He had a bone marrow transplant, hip and shoulder replacements, and 5.5 years on a heart transplant waiting list. So what does he do when he gets his new heart? He decides to run the Ironman Triathlon. The quest is the subject of his new book, Heart of Iron, My Journey from Transplant Patient to Ironman Triathlete. This guy's probably the biggest hero we've had on the program. Welcome back to Kyle Garlett. How are you, Kyle?
I'm great. Thank you guys for having me.
Do you hate that question? How are you?
Well, I'm always great. I mean, I feel like I'm playing with house money now, so I'm always on a good spot.
And how many times do you sit there and say, what the heck? Why me? This is outrageous.
Well, I never kind of thought of it as why me. It was more along the lines of why not me. I mean, these things happen to people. People have challenges. People get sick. People have cancer. Why should I feel like why am I deserving of being exempt from that? I just happen to be one of those people it happened to. Sure, it happened to me maybe a little more than average, but looking back on it, it was from the time I was first diagnosed when I was 18 years old until I got the transplant at the age of 35. It was a 17-year road, but I wouldn't want to undo any one of those years because I wouldn't be where I am right now. I wouldn't be married to the woman that I am. I wouldn't be living the life that I am. I wouldn't have many of the friends that I have, and so I look at it as the worst thing that's ever happened to me and the best thing that's ever happened to me at the same time. I'm truly grateful for my experiences.
And, one thing we learn every single time we do this show is that attitude trumps just about anything. And I think what you didn't say, Kyle, is that you also wouldn't be where you are today if you didn't have the attitude that you seem to come by naturally. Your book does span that 17 to 20-year period back from 1989 when you were a senior in high school, diagnosed with a lump in your neck, which turned out to be Hodgkin's disease. Your life pretty much has been a constant battle from that day to this.
Yes, I had the original diagnosis. Then in 2 years later, it recurred again, and it did seem like that every 2 years I was facing another giant cancer hurdle until finally my heart was damaged during the bone marrow transplant, and then that gave me a whole new issue to deal with. But when I think about it, in terms of attitude, when we talk about what makes us happy in life, it's always the small things. It's the people that are around you. It's those kinds of things that you can control. Now, I couldn't control the fact that I needed a bone marrow transplant and that I'd be in the hospital for weeks at a time, where that some of that time I'd be spent in isolation, and people could only come visit for a few minutes at a time. But I could control how I felt about those times that I had with people, and I could take 30 minutes with a friend, and I could use that and get me through 24 hours. And focus on the good that still remained, even though, the big picture you would say, oh my goodness, he must be miserable. But there were still the good things going on in my life. The people that I loved, people still came and supported me. I still had interactions with the nursing staff, and you could see the inherent goodness in people through their actions. And it's enough to sustain you if you focus on it and let it.
You had to live so much of your life, Kyle, in and out of doctor's offices, in and out of hospitals. When you come out of something like that, I would guess either you never, ever want to go to one again, or you're so grateful for what they did to keep you going that, that it's part of who you are.
Well, yeah, I've been so fortunate. I've had wonderful physicians. I've had wonderful nurses. And I do have a great appreciation for people, especially those who take on, oncology, and I know that they lose a number of patients. It's a special person who moves into that field because it's, many times they go home from work devastated. But, I I've been so fortunate and so blessed to be with those people. Yeah, there was a stretch in my life where I was a little skittish about going into hospitals. It's just you start to you walk into a hospital and all those familiar smells kind of assault you, and it takes you back to where you were. But I have such an appreciation for the ability to save people, and certainly I'm one of those people who's benefited greatly from the skill and expertise of the people in our medical field.
Folks, we're talking with Kyle Garlett, a four-time cancer survivor, a heart transplant recipient, and the author of a new book called Heart of Iron, My Journey from Transplant Patient to Ironman Triathlete. Trying to bounce back from this is one thing, but trying to will a battered body to compete in an Ironman triathlon is another thing. I mean, why didn't you decide you just wanted to run around the block or swim a few laps?
Well, initially that's what I did. My first triathlon was a pretty short triathlon. My wife and I made plans to do that together when we were in the hospital. Actually, just a few days after my heart transplant, we completed that triathlon, and I loved it. And it was such a wonderful feeling to feel healthy and strong, and to cross that finish line, and I just wanted to keep going, and so we started doing longer races and more races, and I've always been a big sports fan. I was a sports writer for a number of years, and there's just something special about Ironman. It is the quintessential endurance challenge. If you can do Ironman, you feel like you can do anything.
Well, how was it?
Well, I was fortunate enough to get to go out and be at the Ironman in Hawaii, which is the World Championship, and so you're out there, and it's like being at the Super Bowl, but you, instead of getting to watch the Super Bowl, you get to hang out on the 50-yard line. I mean, it's incredible. It's just you're with all these amazing athletes, and I was actually my first Ironman experience was on my heart transplant anniversary, and so what a wonderful day to celebrate how far I'd come, and to celebrate my donor and his family, and all of the people who have donated organs to save people like myself. And it was truly just such a special moment. And I love the community that the triathlon community has embraced me so much. And I then got involved with other heart transplants who do races, and we did an all heart transplant Ironman relay race the following year at the Beach to Battleship race in North Carolina. I had a heart transplant friend do our swim leg. I did the bike leg, and then a heart double lung transplant did our marathon leg. And I just want everybody out there to realize what kind of life they can have post transplant. And that was the thing that most frightened me going into the transplant, was what kind of person can I be once this is over? Am I going to be a slave to medications? Am I going to be always tethered to a hospital, always fighting the next thing? And it's turned out that I can live, not only my normal life, but even an extraordinary life, one that I had never dreamed about.
Kyle, you've touched on this in a couple of your answers, but obviously your experience, your book, is far more than just about you. It's far more than just overcoming health challenges. You've become a motivational speaker to share what you've learned about life in general. What is the big message? What's the big takeaway here?
Well, I think we, as human beings, are stronger than we have any. We don't realize just how strong we are until we're forced to dip into that, and we have abilities to overcome so many things. And with people around us and supporting us, it becomes that much easier. And I think the big message is if you focus on the good in your life and work towards a goal, and you don't give up on that goal, you can achieve it. And that goal can be anything, and that challenge in life can be anything. It can be as big as needing a heart transplant. It can be small. It can be simply wanting to change jobs, or not that that's necessarily a small thing, but it doesn't have to be physical or health related. Just focus on the positives and live the life that you want to live. And one of the things that I really, the guiding philosophy for me that has kind of come from all of the experiences that I've had is that I try to live each day as if it's my first. And I know some people talk about living each day as if it's your last. I think that misses the point. I think that the idea is to live each day as if it's your first. Remember the first time that you did things, the first time that you tasted your favorite food, the first time that you saw the sun set over the ocean, the first time that you told your loved one that you love them, and don't ever let it go stale. Stay in that first moment. The next time you tell your loved one that you love them, remember how it felt the first time and try to recapture that. And just live each day as if it's the first time you're doing something. Don't let things grow stale. Enjoy the moments and bask in them.
What a great point from a truly incredible guy. And Kyle, I do hope that one day they make a major movie out of your life or write a book, because you really are, the benefit of a guy like you is, so many of us live life from day to day and we take things for granted. It's the way humans are. But when you hear your story, it just makes you wake up a little bit. It's not just transplants that you inspire and cancer patients that you inspire. It's all of us to appreciate what we have in life and take advantage of everything that's out there. He is Kyle Garlett. Look him up on the internet, learn more about him, buy his book. It's called Heart of Iron, My Journey from Transplant Patient to Ironman Triathlete, and your life will never be the same.